Okay, so a couple weeks ago I did a video on how to get those bone-in backstrap chops out of an Axis that we got about a month before that. So today we're actually going to go ahead and cook that. So we're going to make a bone-in Axis backstrap chop. We're going to do that with fingerling potatoes and a cognac cream sauce. Hope you guys like it. Now, a really great side dish for these bone-in Axis chops are these really nice fingerling potatoes. So they come in all different shapes and sizes, but what's so great about them is the fact that you don't have to parboil them. If you cut them lengthwise in half and put them face down on a plancha, which we're going to do here, with some salt, pepper, olive oil, some fresh chopped garlic, and fresh rosemary, they'll cook perfectly, and you don't have to parboil them, like I said. So super easy to do on your grill. I'm actually going to leave this rosemary whole. I'm not going to chop it. I like that rustic look, especially with rosemary. It's so delicious when it kind of chars and burns a little bit on that flat top. So leave it whole. You could break it up if you want, whatever your preference is. So 2 stalks of rosemary in, doesn't have to be precise. Those 2 cloves of fresh chopped garlic. You season pretty heavily with some salt, kosher salt, of course, fresh cracked pepper, and a little fresh chili. So now you get them all good and coated with that seasoning. I mean, you could like almost eat them like this. They're just ridiculous. So you get them like this, get them nice and seasoned on all sides. A fair amount of olive oil, that's all right. It won't burn. And we're gonna lay these skin side up rather on the flat top. We're gonna go ahead and place them flesh side down like so, right on your plancha. All this good stuff get right up over the top there. Now you could tell the fire is not cranking right now. These are going to cook nice and gently, and they're going to caramelize good on that one side, and then we'll go ahead and flip them over. Got to get a good crust on that one side. That is the key to these potatoes being delicious. This is exactly what we wanted to achieve with putting them flesh side down on the plancha like that. They are absolutely stunning looking. They have a great crust, cooked perfectly, fork tender, didn't have to parboil them. That is what you want. Okay, so here's one of our bone-in Axis chops that we cut a couple of weeks ago. I actually just cut these in double chops. You could French the bone and clean the bone as much as you'd like. Ultimately, what ends up happening is if you don't get everything off, you get a little bit of char in there. If that's cool with you, it's cool with me. Good meal for camp, good meal for dinner party. We're gonna take these and season these with garlic powder, salt, pepper, and a little olive oil. Then we're just gonna grill them straight over those post oak coals. Very simple, very quick, and then we'll make a pan sauce for that, and everything will be ready to go. All right, so here's one of our bone-in Axis chops that we're cooking today. I covered it heavily in garlic powder, cracked pepper, and salt. I could add a little bit of olive oil to it just to add a little bit of fat to the outside. This meat can handle heavy seasoning just like beef, so don't be afraid to go pretty heavy with your seasoning and mop it all up on your cutting board. It'll make you a beautiful crust. All right, so now that your Axis chop is probably about rare, pull that off to the side. You could let that hang out near those potatoes, keep them warm, it's fine because you're actually going to end up finishing that chop in the sauce that we're going to make here. So this cognac cream sauce is really simple. Just a few ingredients: chicken broth, thyme, heavy cream, of course cognac. You could use a shallot, you could use onion, a little garlic. So it's very simple, pretty rustic. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to finish up, and then you could drop that axis chop right back in the sauce, right in the cast iron skillet, and finish it like that. It's also a great way to serve it to your guests, so check it out. So we're going to start with just a splash of olive oil. Let that come up to temperature. About a tablespoon of salted butter. A half a cup of onion. And 1 smashed clove of garlic. I like doing a smashed clove of garlic because then it's not really in the sauce. You can pick it out if you want. You could chop it. It's all up to you. Keep it easy. So we're just going to saute this about 2 to 3 minutes. Just so those onions get nice and soft. And that garlic's cooked down for a minute. Now that you've added the cognac to this, let this cook down for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just let it reduce, concentrate those flavors. We're going to come back and we're going to add 2 tablespoons of stone ground mustard, chicken broth, and Worcestershire sauce. Okay, so now that this is reduced, let's take a couple of tablespoons of stone ground mustard, mix that in. Chicken broth, to thin it out a little bit. Heavy cream. Fresh thyme. And a couple drops of Worcestershire. So now you're just going to let this reduce. Again, probably about 10 to 15 minutes. Get it back to more of a cream consistency. Reduce that cognac that was in there. You reduce the chicken broth that was in there. And you have a great sauce. Perfect for these axis chops. Easy to do in camp. At this point, sauce is cooked down nicely. We got rid of all the alcohol from that cognac, so you're left with just that nice concentrated flavor. I put the axis chop back in for a moment just to keep it warm. We're gonna plate this up. This is what I do to plate. Come right behind. Look at those potatoes. Perfect crust. Beautiful. Take that axis chop that was sitting back in the sauce. Take that so that one side's got the sauce like that. Just come right over the top. that cream sauce, just like that. That is a bone-in axis chop, cognac cream sauce, and rosemary fingerling potatoes. Now it's time to dig in.